Chandelier light, a silver dress, my daughter's pink walker catching on a tablecloth. That's the picture that still lives in my head. A splash of punch on someone's fancy gown, a grown woman leaning over a 7-year-old like a storm rolling in, and a room full of adults turning into statues while my kid tried to swallow her own sobs, you know what I mean. Her name was Veronica, the kind of person who treats charity galas like combat sport, and she had Ella's walker in a death grip while hissing about normal people and places not meant for everyone. My feet moved before my brain did, but someone got there first. "We don't let adults bully children in this space," a voice said, steady as a level. Tessa in black event clothes, not big or loud, just calm in a way that makes bullies flinch. She stepped between them without touching anyone. Hands open, eyes locked. And when Veronica demanded to know where the parents were, Tessa did the bravest little thing I've seen in a long time. She put a gentle hand on my daughter's shoulder and said, "She's with me, she's my daughter." I stopped behind a column for 10 seconds because I wanted to hear how this stranger would talk to my kid when she thought no one important was listening. "Hey, peanut accidents happen," she told Ella, voice low and warm. "You belong here, you belong in beautiful places. Breathe with me. In, out, again." That's when I stepped out, not bulletproof, just a dad with a throat that burned. "Please don't explain," I said to Tessa, "not yet. Thank you first." Ella reached for me without letting go of Tessa, which told me everything. We introduced ourselves. "I offered dinner as a thank you." Tessa said it wasn't necessary. Ella said the place had milkshakes, and Tessa smiled like someone who knows when to say yes to a kid's invitation. 2 nights later, we were at Harbor and Hearth, not fancy, just wide aisles, patient staff, a corner table where a walker isn't an obstacle course. If you've dated as a single parent, you know the dance. You circle the hard stuff until you're sure the person across from you can carry it without dropping it. Tessa didn't make me perform. She asked about therapy and the way people ask when they actually want to understand. Then she told us about Bright Steps, the nonprofit she'd been sketching on napkins and late nights. After-school programs for kids with disabilities that aren't medical or pity real art, with adaptive brushes, modified sports that feel like sports, Saturday rocketry for kids who love things that fly. "It doesn't need to be glossy," she said. "It needs to be safe, joyful, real." Ella peppered her with questions. Between chicken tenders, could the walls be bright yellow? Could there be a shelf for walkers and scooters? Could her friend Mateo come even if crowds make him tired? Tessa answered each one like a promise, and somewhere between milkshakes and the check, the ground under me shifted, not fireworks, just that rare feeling that the world makes more sense sitting across from this person. News travels in families that care too much about optics. My mother Lydia called with the tone that says, "The decision is already made." "Bring your friend Sunday," she said we should meet her. Hale dinners run like board meetings, heavy silverware, soft interrogations disguised as interest. My aunt did the polite resume audit. My mother saved the concern for last. Stability influence partners who can operate in our world. There it was. Tessa sat a fraction straighter. "With respect, your world is a room," she said. "Your granddaughter's world is a future. I care about that future." My mother's eyebrow did its aristocratic thing, and that's when I put my fork down. "The woman who stepped between your granddaughter and a bully, while everyone else looked away," I said, "is exactly the influence I want in Ella's life. We're not doing this." We left early. Ella held both our hands in the driveway like we were a bridge, and she was steadying herself across. The next weeks were simple and exactly right. Tessa texted photos of community rooms she might rent for pilot Saturdays. Big windows, floors that wouldn't chew up rubber tips. I sent spreadsheets. We argued with a smile about whether beanbags are a choking hazard. I read her draft plan after bedtime and scribbled notes. She taught me to roast carrots that didn't taste like cafeteria sadness. People had underestimated her for years, not because she was soft, but because she refused to be sharp in the ways that get applause. No posturing, no name drops, just showing up again and again for kids, for tired parents, for the idea that accessibility isn't optional. The pop quiz came at the family reunion, Seacliff Country Club, manicured grass, a tent sized for its own weather system, and to my mother's credit, an area of adaptive games where Ella lit up because she could join without speeches. I thought maybe we'd coast, then I heard that clipped voice saw the silver, and there was Veronica, delighted to find an audience. "So this is the event planner," she said loud enough for donors' clever way to meet the right people. I stepped in pulse steady in that strange way it gets when you've already decided who you are. "This is my girlfriend Tessa." I said. "She didn't rescue a child. She stopped you from being cruel. There's a difference." Tessa inhaled to speak and then stopped, because Ella had walked up, small voice carrying like a bell. "You're the lady who told me not to be where people can see me," she said. Veronica tried the adult tone that puts kids back in their place. I was correcting. "Poor behavior." Ella shook her head. "I bumped a table getting cake," she said. "That's not bad. That's human. You grabbed me, you made me cry. Tessa told me to breathe and said I belong in beautiful places. I believe her. If a hush can have weight, that one did." My aunt moved toward Ella like she wished she had months ago. My mother's face worked through realization and regret. The crowd did the math in real time. I asked the only question that mattered. "Ella, what do you want from this moment?" She took the breath we practice at home. "I want you to stop being mean," she told Veronica. "I want you to say sorry, not for your dress, for your words. And I want you to leave me alone when I'm getting cake. No theatrics, just child truth." Veronica sputtered something about respect, then found the exit, and my mother turned to Tessa, voice stripped of performance. "I misjudged you. I'm sorry. Thank you for protecting my granddaughter when I did not." Tessa nodded, gracious without letting anyone off the hook. "Protecting children is a team sport," she said. "You're on it now. If this were a movie, we'd cut to a montage, Saturdays at Bright Steps, pilots, kids with different bodies and brilliant minds building paper rockets that actually flew, parents leaning on door frames, pretending the shine in their eyes was the light, Tessa in sneakers with a clipboard, and that kind of joy that doesn't perform a check from my company. A few more, from people who realized the only naming opportunity was a chalkboard wall filled with doodles, my mother introducing Tessa to a foundation director. Not because it looked good, because it was right. Money moves rooms, sure, but courage does too, and when you put them together on purpose, that's momentum. 1 year to the day after the wedding, we stood under glass and green at the Brighton Conservatory, butterflies more like neighbors than decor. Ella insisted on the venue because the ramps don't look like ramps. It just looks like everyone is invited. She practiced walking a few steps without her walker, not for a performance, for a surprise. And when the music turned and she came down the aisle with a paper cone of petals, the room forgot to breathe for a heartbeat. Then she took her careful steps, slow and proud, and I have never seen anything braver. Tessa looked like the best version of home. Our vows weren't poetry. They were promises stuck to the ordinary. Keep building a life that fits the actual kid. Keep stepping in when stepping in is needed. Keep choosing kindness before optics. Pastor Jensen said, "The only line that made me cry in public families are made by blood, by choice, and by the moments when someone steps between you and the people who mean you harm." Ella clapped so hard a butterfly lifted off a fern, like it had been waiting for its cue. Yeah, that happened. People ask about Veronica. I wish I had a neat ending. A month after the conservatory, an envelope showed up, expensive paper, plenty of cursive, an apology that included the word, "if you know that one." And a week later, Bright Steps received an anonymous donation, big enough to fund our sensory-friendly music program for 2 years. We can guess the source. We can't prove it. Tessa says redemption is a door you hold open without dragging anyone through it. I am still figuring out where accountability ends and forgiveness begins. Some days I think I know, some days I don't. That's real life. So let me hand this to you. If you were in that ballroom, would you have stepped in or stared at your shoes and hoped someone else would write the ending? When a public apology arrives with private money, behind it is that growth or PR. Would you accept it or ask for something harder and more human? Tell me what you would have done, where you're watching from, what you think about bystanders and class, and who gets to decide what belongs in public. And if stories like this matter to you, hit subscribe. Send this to one person who might need the nudge and drop your take in the comments, so we can argue in good faith about what justice looks like when all anybody wanted was a slice of cake.